Why, hello. Let me give the official cheers and welcome to another weekly edition of Happy Hour with the Lincoln. This is where week by week I'll do my best to answer all of your stock market related questions, tell tales and rant about specific stock market topics. Or at least I'll try to stay on topic. I do have a tendency to wander off here and there. All in the attempts to share my 2 decades of trading experience with you so you can become a more professional, more profitable, more consistent trader. Now, for some of you that need help with that, I'm going to post a link here on the screen. It directs you to our live trade room, as I say every week. Each and every one of you are welcome to trade with us live. Just follow the link and trade with us. Now, let me ask you this question. Hold on. Are you afraid? Do you have trader's fear? Now, it's okay to experience fear. I mean, after all, fear lets us know that we're alive. We're still walking this earth. It's okay to have doubt and be indecision and be worried about things. I mean, we're just human beings. We're just human beings with emotions, and we go through these from time to time. But has your fear reached a level where it's actually preventing you from becoming the successful person that you set out to be? Are you so afraid that you cannot execute your game plan, that you can't push the button? You know what to do, but you just can't break free from the fear and let yourself go and let yourself become what you were always supposed to be. So I'm going to talk about that today because I got a couple of questions here over the last couple of months. And I've experienced this. Most of you know my backstory in the early years there between, I'd say, 2002 and 2004 after I blew up a couple accounts. Through those years, I was really afraid. I was really afraid to trade. I was really questioning as to whether or not I had what it took to be here, if I could actually do this for a living, if I was cut out for this whole thing. So I've actually been there, and I understand what it takes to get out of it. So what I'm going to share with you today is how do you get over it? Any kind of fear. How can you just break the chains that bind you and set yourself off to the path of profitability? We're going to talk about that. So here's a question I got. Doug, I'm always afraid to make a trade. No matter how much I study or work, when it comes down to pushing the button, I cannot do it. Then when I do push the button, I want out of the trade right away. I've had a fair amount of stock market knowledge and I've been around for a while, but I do not understand why I am so scared or why I hesitate so much. Is there any tips that you have for getting over fear? Why, yes, there is. Now, let me start out with this. If you're suffering from fear to this type of a level, it's simple. Fear is the absence of faith. You either don't have enough faith in yourself as a person, you don't have, you're questioning as to whether or not you belong here, like I said I did, or you have a lack of faith in your process and your plan and your strategies. And that's understandable. We all kind of go through these periods of time. But then it can reach this epic level where it's just preventing you from being who you're really supposed to be. So we'll first start out when we talk about fear. Where does it come from? It's the absence of faith. You lack faith. And the reason that you lack faith is because something has happened to give you. You just don't lack faith naturally. You do this because something has happened. And in the trader world, most likely what has happened is you began with a strategy. You tried to trade. You have traded. Maybe you experienced some success. Maybe you did not. But at some point, you got punished. You paid the price, whether it was a slow death with multiple losses or you just got cleaned out on one large loss. Now, when this happens, you start to lose faith as to whether or not, number one, you are made to be a trader. You have the type of behavior in the background that'll make you a successful trader. You start to second guess and wonder. Then you start to second guess and question your system. This can lead to traders bouncing around from one system to the next system and so on. So when we talk about fear, let's all just be straight up clear about this. It's from the absence of faith. So somewhere something has happened that's created this negativity that's been, and this is the byproduct. You are now afraid. Now, according to this particular email, there's also some trader anxiety there because this individual is afraid to be in a trade. And, of course, that can start out by making bad trades in the first part. So how do we overcome something like this? This is really the differences between a professional trader and an amateur, is that the professional trader understands their plan and their process. They've done it a lot and they've been around the market for a while. This is why I've always talked about in my past whiteboards, these happy hours and stuff. The most valuable asset to you as a trader is screen time. The only way that you're going to know whether the strategy that you're using and the process that you're using works over the long term is to trade for the long term. You can't base your results or your long-term success over 1 week of trading or over a period of 10 trades or 15 trades. Your whole entire career will depend more on your body of work rather than just 1 or 2 really good trades. So it's this whole body of work that I've talked about. So when we look at this fear, it's all about something has happened. So the professional trader understands that they might have a bad day, a bad week, or a bad month. But if they continue to do what it is that they know they do, they continue to stay disciplined with their process and their plan, that in the end, everything will wash out and work in their favor. They understand this and they have that faith and they believe it. So when they have lost 4 or 5 times in a row, for example, and they see the perfect trade setup, they won't second guess themselves. They won't hesitate. They'll execute. Because they'll say, every time I see that, more often than not, it works. Now, maybe it doesn't work and they lose again, but they're okay with that because they understand that's part of their plan, that's part of their process. And if you show me that trade 10 or 20 more times, I'll take it all 20. I'll do it every time. So the difference between the pro and the amateur is the pro understands this is part of the business. They will have hot streaks and cold streaks, but they believe and they have that faith in their plan and process to stay with it. And then eventually, they're going to make money. They know that the next big trade is just right around the corner. So it's easier for them to take losses. It's easier for them to experience periods of loss because it's part of doing business, and they do understand that fact, that the next big trade, the next big winner is just right around the corner. Now, the amateur doesn't see that. When they start to lose money, they become very critical about themselves. They start to get down on themselves. They start to get upset. Now, a lot of that is because they haven't been around long enough to understand how the trading game works. And it's just naturally a sucky thing to lose, right? Nobody likes to lose. Even if you sit down, you and I play checkers, we're going to play to win, right? We're just going to play to win. Everybody plays to win on everything. You always want to win. So normally how this starts out is you take a couple of bumps. You start out with a strategy. It works, maybe kind of gives you some false hope. You're doing really, really well. And all of a sudden you enter this bad period of time. Let's just start from the bad period. You start making bad trades. You start losing money. You start going downhill, whether it's rapidly or slowly, but you're really in this negative or this really poor area of trading. Now, this starts to have some psychological repercussions because what happens is you start to lose faith in the process. And normally what a trader will do, an amateur trader, is start to move away from that process. What's got them to where they are, what's got them and made them successful for 6 or 7 months prior, they'll all of a sudden abandon and throw the baby out with the bathwater on 1 bad week or 2 bad weeks, and they'll start jumping around from system to system. If they don't jump around from system to system, they'll start taking aggressive types of trades that aren't part of that plan or process. Now, we talked about this before, and this is a serious issue because you can get into these periods of delusion to where you think you're taking a trade that's part of your plan and process, and then you look back later and realize it wasn't. I don't even know what the hell I was doing. So it kind of starts like that for the amateur. They get in this period where they start losing money. Then they get desperate to make money. They get desperate because everybody wants to feel successful. Everybody wants to be a winner. That's what we're all here for. We just want to win no matter what we're doing. And then they'll move into maybe revenge trading or taking trades outside of their process and doing stuff like that. And then that type of behavior begins to snowball, and you just get out of control. You jump from system to system. You take revenge trades. You start trading heavily because you're trying to make losses back. And then the next thing you lead to, heavy consequences such as decimating accounts, which is exactly what I did. Because in my particular case, that's how it started. I never really had a plan and process to begin with. I was just lucky because I happened to be buying tech stocks in the tech bubble, and most of the time that strategy was working out. Now, when that all ended, I didn't have a plan or a process. I didn't really know what I was doing anyway in the first place. I was just sort of throwing darts every morning. Luckily, I got away with it that long. How lucky was I? But then it started to just unravel, and that's kind of what I did. I tried to get more desperate. I took bigger position sizes. I tried to get more aggressive, and that just turned out to me losing accounts, and that's something that you just simply cannot do. So how you actually start breaking apart this fear is you got to realize, number one, what you're trading for. You need to stop thinking about making money. I've said this before and how to get out of trading slumps. I've done some videos about this. But step number one is you have a confidence confidence issue. And to a trader, confidence and spirit and all that stuff is priority. You got to have faith and belief in what it is that you do. Yes, you're going to take some bumps and bruises on the way, but you truly have to believe in your ability as an individual and believe that if you stick to your plan and process, that in the long run, things are going to be okay. And that next big trade for you is just right around the corner. You have got to believe that. If you do not, you're screwed. You're just screwed, man. You're never going to make it here. You're just continually going to sabotage yourself into this destruction. So you've got to get your momentum back. You need to start putting wins on the board. And the easiest way to do that is stop talking about making bank. Stop thinking about getting your money back. Stop thinking about just putting down big dollars and just try to focus on, I need to make really good trades from here on out. I need to be more specific about the types of trades that I'm making, and I need to be more patient with the trades that I'm making. And that's where I need to start, because it's more about me starting to rebuild confidence than me rebuilding my bank account. Once I get my confidence back and I can get into a rhythm again, I'll be okay. I can start to make money. But for now, goal number one is not to retrieve my money and get that back. It's to restore my sanity and make me feel better. Otherwise, I'm just going to be this unraveling nightmare and destroy all this money that I've put into my account. And that's just senseless. Now, how you go about doing that is several different ways. I've done several videos of this as well about position sizes. The best thing to do is lower down your position sizes to where they're nice and small. You can give yourself some time to just to relax in the trade, not be so anxious. Maybe like when you're hearing this email about trader anxiety, I want out of the trade. And usually when you have that type of anxiety, you're worrying too much about the money, and that's a problem. If you're focusing on money, you're going to have a quick exit in this business. It's always about focusing on the right trades. Remember, I used to say that all the time. It's not about making money. It's about making good trades. If you make good trades, the money part will take up for itself. And that's what you're trying to do. So first thing is just chill out and relax. Don't give up on the strategy. Go back and see how was it, when it was working, why was it working? Go back to the months that it was working and figure out, where did you go wrong? Are you rushing your entries? Are you rushing your exits? Are you trading with too much size and you're not ready for that? Try to find out where the problem is. And trust me, there's a problem. You've done something. And like I said before, it's okay. We've all done it. I'm just as guilty as anyone else for doing this. But like I said before, you don't need to throw your strategy out. What changes is how you approach it. Maybe the market's a little bit different. Maybe the way stocks are working are a little different. So you start from there and then lower your size and give yourself some more time. The next step is you're just about winning. You just want to start winning on some trades. You want to get that win ratio back up to a respectable amount, 50, 60, 80%, whatever it normally was. You want to get that back to a respectable amount and just start to feel that you now have a command over the market. Now, command over the market means that most of the time you're right. You're right. Like I said, idea, execution, and management. You come up with good ideas, you have good execution, and then you manage them well. You will definitely have losers, but that's okay. It's just getting back into a rhythm and just starting to feel like you are unison with the market. A lot of people don't talk about this, but to me, it's very important to feel the market. Like you want to be in unison with it. Like the decisions that you're coming up with, the ideas that you're coming up with, they're matching the scope of the market. Most of those ideas are working. Most of your thoughts are coming to fruition. You're thinking about it and it's working that way. That's a market rhythm. A trader needs to get into a rhythm. And then once you do that, you can start to add size. But the first and foremost important thing for anybody suffering with it, if you are afraid because you have a lack of faith. You first need to diagnose that lack of faith and fix it. Because if you do not have faith in yourself, just quit now. You're just not in just trading, you're going to screw up anything because you've just got to have this self-belief. You don't need to be like over the top positive, but you have to be able to believe. And the way that comes for a trader is it comes through that screen time, and it comes from constantly doing and understanding what it is that you're doing here. The next thing is to just slow it down a little bit, be a little bit more particular about the trades you take, lower those sizes, and just focus on getting back into a rhythm. That's the most important thing. You've got to get back into a rhythm. So anyway, guys, I hope this helps you out. Remember, you can't let fear hold you back. It's okay to have it. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be scared. I get it. I understand those things. It's all right. I still get little butterflies in my stomach after 21 years when the market bell rings. It's okay. That lets you know you're alive. But if it's holding you back too much, you've got to fix it. You got to fix it or you're just going to die here. And nobody needs to die here, right? Anyway, thanks for watching this happy hour. I do appreciate it as always. You know where I'm at if you need me. Until the next one, cheers.